faith, real conversation, real redemption, testimonies of grace, real stories, real people, faith that carried them through. When God turns a life around, He can make a way for you. Every story has a purpose, every voice can speak the truth. Real stories, real people, and God is not done with you.
Hey, good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you are listening to this podcast of Real Story, Real People. Don't forget to share, like, and tag as we have an amazing story coming to you. A story that you don't want anyone that's going through anything to miss out. This story is about finding hope in life darkest moments. Finding hope in life darkest moments. Welcome to each one of you. We'll let you introduce yourself. Tell us how you two of you came together with Get Up. Get Up and introduce yourself, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you for having us, Ray. I appreciate you allowing us to be guests on your show. My name is Lavonne Chastain. I'm the author. I'm the one who wrote the story, Get Up. And it's basically Gaylyn's life story, but it's told through my lens because we are cousins. So we grew up together. We're 4 years apart. I'm 4 years older than her, if you can believe that or not. But the story's been, it was 10 years in the making. And a couple of years ago, she decided she wanted to put her story down on paper. And because I was a firsthand witness to everything that she had endured, I was the natural fit to write the story for her. So it is told through my perspective, my lens. But so it's one story with two perspectives because I'm telling her story through my perspectives.
And thank you for being here too. It's a wonderful, thank you. And my name is Gaylynn Kapri, and I'm the one that had to live it. And it was a heck of a journey, let me tell you, to get to where I'm at today.
Hey, again, thank each one of you as we jump right on into Gaylyn's story. Let's jump right on into the nuts and bolts. Can you tell our listeners about life before all this unraveled, before all this became? How was life?
Well, I'm going to just start from the beginning. And Gaylyn's life started unraveling when she was just a little girl. And so she'll speak about the things, the trauma that she has endured throughout her life. But before the book was actually published, she had gone through so much in her life, so many heartaches and devastating loss and illness, and you name it, this girl's been through it. But it started when she was very, very, very young. So I'm going to let Gaylynn jump in and tell her story a little bit.
Well, it starts it starts from the very beginning. When I always tell people, when I first took my first breath, God knew I was a fighter. I had to fight for survival, basically, and that's why we work together, Lavonne and I, with trauma women. It starts off with abandonment, typical trauma, when you're a little girl, and sexual molestation, which we're figuring out that probably 50-60% of us women have already experienced that. And then it catapults to complete. My mother, my real father left us, and then my stepfathers came in, which was completely domestic violence. I witnessed quite a bit as a little girl, and that's whenever Lavonne stopped coming to our house. We're 4 years apart. When I say we're 4 years apart, we are more than cousins. She's been more my rudder, my mother. I didn't really have any kind of guidance growing up. But then we fast forward to just tragedy after tragedy. I am a stage 4 colon cancer survivor, and in the midst, and I'll jump forward and then sort of work my way back. But in the midst of fighting for my life with cancer, I was also looking for my daughter's body, was killed in a boating accident. So that's where the story turns really crazy, because the things that I've endured, the domestic violence, whenever you're raised with domestic violence, you think that domestic violence is normal. But the first man that ever hit me, my mother said, "Oh, it's because he loves you." not to leave. That's the kind of, us women that are in that kind of, us children that are in that kind of environment, we don't really know any better. To this day, I have a scar on my face that I don't fix, because I show other women when they meet me, I'm 5'10", I'm a force when I walk in. They're like, oh, nothing ever happened to you. I've lost 2 children. I've been sent home to die on hospice, palliative care and hospice on cancer. So I've had it all. I've been raped, left on the side of the road for dead. Um, what one tragedy after the other, and of course, all this accumulates to doing drugs, drinking, promiscuous, all of that, because of the environment that I started with. But it gets really, to me, the most interesting part of the story is God. Is so I'm jumping around a little bit, but I was living in my house in Belize at the time that my daughter continued to call. I had already gone through my divorce. I was starting to clean my life up a bit. And my daughter continued to call me to come home to California. That's where we were originally from. And I chose every reason not to go, because I really didn't want to go back to the shame and guilt that I would suffer every time I went home to California. And I left that phone call. I went to the dishes to do my dishes, and I heard a voice tell me to go. I mean, I heard it so clear that I called Reagan back and I said, all right, sweetheart, I'm coming in hot. Pick me up. I'm going to come into the airport. Well, we had a lovely time. We danced on the beach that night. And then she left to go on a boating trip. Well, she died that next day. And so I always tell people, God gave me one last dance with my daughter, which I wouldn't be here to this day if I hadn't gone. I would have felt so selfish. But I did listen. Finally, the piano had hit me in the head. So that boating accident killed 4 of our family members. And it was a drunk driver, of course, another thing that I'm an activist about now. So as it, whenever we were there and we're looking for her body, she's the last one to be found. I get diagnosed with stage 4 colon cancer. And it's like, what the heck could ever happen? What more could happen to me? While I was fighting for my life, basically. And I tell people, God knows that I'm a fighter. I've been a fighter my whole life, that I had to fight a battle or I would have died of a broken heart. And everybody had sort of given up on me, but Lavonne, she wouldn't even come see me at the hospital or anything. She's like, you're not going to die. I'm like, I'm going to die. She's like, you're not going to die. God told me you're not going to die. Well, then they carried me into the hospital. I was about 105 pounds at the time. And there was an angel on call, and the angel, he was a surgeon, and he put me on a colostomy bag. It's another trauma that I have. Put me on a colostomy bag. I woke up to all of this. I went in to die. I woke up in out of life support. And about 2 weeks later, my surgeon comes in to my bed, and he sits on the side of the bed and he scratches his head and he said, I ran the test twice and there's no cancer. And I swear it was the power of God hit my chest, and I can remember the dream that I had on life support. And he told me to get up. That's where the book comes from. He told me to get up, and the day my daughter would be found, she was still missing. And lo and behold, and I told my best friend that day, she's like, you've been through so much, Gaylynn, settle down. I'm sure you're envisioning something. I was adamant about it. And I got up. She was found on that day that God had told me. She was identified on July 2nd and she was brought home on July 4th. And what's the miracle on that again, like there's miracle after miracle after miracle that truly happens, is that she was fully intact after 2 years in the water. So whatever, there was the only thing that was missing was the tips of her fingers and the tips of her nose. And the coroners didn't know how that had happened either. But the man that found her, and it is in the book, the letter that he wrote us, he was a Christian man that found a cross in the water that day and a wreath floated by. But it was all, he had told me everything, like everything, that I was cancer free. I'm 8 years out now and I'm still cancer free. I help others now. I teach them about the temple of God and everything that I can. And um, that's pretty much I mean, it's one after another of the tragedies, from the breath to me finally having that piano hit me on the head. And I live my life for God now. And I just try to help others, and everybody that comes into my path, I I'm working with them. I'm trying to show them the light.
Great,
That
great. Thank you for that part. Thank you for that introduction of that amazing story. I was listening and I heard loss, illness, and faith. Along with the question, how did that grief, when you was going through it, affect your faith? How did that affect your faith before you realized that angel knock you in the head that day and say, let's go?
Well, the grief thing, that goes back to another story that's in the book too. The grief. I had now found Jesus, and I had found a little church to go to, and I had was just trying to get my life together, got buried my daughter, trying to get my life together. And I went into some grief counseling, which I'd never been to counseling before, went into grief counseling, and then the minister was sexually inappropriate with me. So I had another, trauma happen again. And so I back away going, there's so much that always continues to happen. But it was interesting because Lavonne had gone to that church and she says, I don't like him. There's something about him I don't care for. Sure enough, when we were alone, that's what he had done. So the grief part, that took me back a bit, but I got back up, got to a new church, went back in path, and the grief is tough, but I'll tell you, that's the part that I believe that's more Satan holding us down, that we don't go forward to help others. We know
Yeah.
we're going to see him in heaven. So,
Yes.
mhm.
And I also wanted to add that when Gaylynn lost her daughter, while she knew God was with her, she was angry, and she talks about that anger a lot during her moments, her time of grieving, the loss of her daughter. She was very angry and well deserved. It was a horrible, horrible accident, but yeah, she talks a lot about the anger that she felt.
It's overbearing. And so when I sit with women now that have lost a child, or men even, so my husband lost his son. And so when we sit down and we talk about things like that, it's why are you drinking yourself to death? Why are you eating all those pills to mask the pain? Deal with the pain, give it to keep there with their heavenly Father, and continue to serve. You cannot let it push you down, because to me, it's just Satan holding us all back from our true purpose.
Yes, Galen, along that story from that stage 4 cancer to losing your daughter, did you ever question God?
All the time. Oh, absolutely. I was so mad. I would ride my bike and scream at him, and just to bring my baby home. She's missing for 2 years. And so that was my middle daughter too. She was the catalyst that kept all three of them together. My children are very close in age. They're like triplets. And so the middle one missing caused a whole dynamic effect on the rest of our family. And like I said, it killed my brother-in-law. It killed another young woman that was on the boat, and then my sister's friend. So there was a lot of tragedy and grief that was all right there that we all had to endure. So yes, I was mad at God for a while. I was more than mad, let's say that.
Yes, yes. Thank you. Thank you. Someone is listening and they were asked, when did you begin seeing God's hand, even in the middle of your suffering?
I have to say that he was in my hand. He was there from the very beginning, because I shouldn't have survived some of these things. I shouldn't have survived most of them. And he was always there. I just the didn't have the vision to see him. And I would call my cousin, which I say, she's not just a cousin. She's been more of a mentor, mother, even though she doesn't like that one because thinks she's younger than me. But she's who she is. She's everything to me. And she would keep me sort of guiding in the right direction and say, no, no, and I'd call her to get on the get on the bat phone and call God and ask him to bring my baby home, da, da, da. And she's like, now I understand, we all have our own bat phones. We all can pray. We all can get there. So, yeah. Hmm.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. The turning point. The turning point.
Oh, the turning point, really, I'll cry. The turning point was me hearing him tell me to get up, and that I'm still cancer free, whenever they sent me home on palliative care. Thank God I really didn't know what palliative care meant. But then hospice would be next. So that was the turning point, was when Reagan was found on that day that I heard on life support. That changed the whole thing for me, because it was, I knew the exact date. How did I know all that? So that was the turning point where you can't deny it anymore. There's no coincidences in life. I mean, it all happened for a reason. And I wouldn't be the woman that I am today if I hadn't gone through all these tragedies. And they say, I can sit with anybody. What's the problem? Why are you drinking yourself to death or doing all the drugs, or why are you beating your wife? Why are you staying in that marriage?
Yes.
So it's really, really helped me catapult to where I'm supposed to be. Some of us are supposed to endure all those things.
Yes.
Some of us are supposed to have the piano hit us in the head for a while.
Yes. Yes. Someone is going through the same thing right now, and they would probably ask, what does redemption really look like every day now for you after going through all that and looking back over it and can give God all the praises and can be uplift? You're not holding your head down. You like, I'm helping someone else not go through this. Someone is going to listen to this and let them know how your redemption really look every day now.
My redemption looks every day, and I need to pinch myself every single day. I'm going to cry. I really didn't know life was supposed to be this good. I married a wonderful, wonderful Christian man. He takes very good care of me. He prays with me. He shows me love. Something that I've really never had. Structure. All of the things that all of us humans crave, really. All of us women crave the love and protection like a man is supposed to be. And so I pinch myself on redemption probably every day, thinking, I tell God, I run out to the beach every morning and tell God how grateful I am for this beautiful life.
Yes. I
Mhm.
heard forgiveness and all that. What do forgiveness look like to you today?
Well, and I talk about that a lot with the trauma patients. Forgiveness is for ourselves. When you have to forgive your father, for molesting you, or you have to forgive a man that's beaten you to being almost dead, that is more forgiveness is for you. It's not for that person. So we can, and basically forgiveness is letting go of the shame, because that's really what we're holding on to. Is holding on to the shame. So we mask it with drugs, alcohol, and promiscuity, whatever. You're going to mask it with something so that you won't let anybody see the shame. But once you forgive, the shame is all gone.
Yeah.
So, mhm.
Hey, don't y'all forget to get the book, Get Up, Get Up, Get Up. Writing the book. Writing
Right
the
in the
book.
book, baby. Right in the book.
What made you realize that Gaylyn's story needed to become a book?
Well, I always knew at some point all of this would be written down. I knew that. We talked about it. She would always she would call me from wherever she was in the world and say, this would be a great chapter in our book. We need to write a book someday. And I always knew that what she meant was she wanted me to write the book because she had to go live the life. She didn't have time to write anything down.
No.
But I've known her, as I said, her whole life. And she's always been very grandiose and had these wonderful ideas, but then would leave it to someone else to execute. And so that's kind of how this came about as well. And I never really gave it much thought until about 2 years ago. She was home visiting me, and we were in my car reminiscing about our grandmother and all of the crazy antics that she had. And something else came up about her life, and she said, it's time. We need to write this down. It's time. And so she and I got together, and I thought, okay, Lord, this is it. If this is where you want us to go with it, I can do this. I know I have the ability to write this story. But then we thought that was it. I was going to write the book. I did interviews with her just to make sure I had timelines correct. I wanted to make sure everything was accurate from my memory to her memory and back and forth. And we both thought, okay, good. God, we're done. Wrote the book, published it. We're all good to go.
Here we are. We're still working, let me tell you.
That is not what I had. And I just retired a couple of years ago from my career. I had no idea this is where God was leading us. No idea whatsoever. But what has come to my mind and what God has shared with me, even over the last few weeks, is that, yes, we wrote this book, we published it, and we have amazing reviews, amazing readers. We have some, we call them our super fans that have gone above and beyond with the book, and it is amazing. However, that's not the story. The book is wonderful, and we want everyone to read it, but it's the message. It's the message of hope and redemption only through the blood of our Lord and Savior. And so that's what we're telling people now. It's really, Gaylyn's story is so fascinating, and you will want to read the book. Everyone who reads it says they can't put it down. Mm-hmm. But the story, the real message is about hope and redemption. And that's what we're trying to get out there now to share. That's what God put on my heart several weeks ago, that it is like, we want everyone, that God wants to read it. We want it to come into their path. But really, what he wants more from us is to share the message of hope and redemption.
Yes.
Yes. Hope and redemption. Don't forget, get the book, get up, get up, get up. I got to ask this question.
Go ahead.
Was there a moment you both were crying while writing this book?
Oh.
Crying?
Yeah.
Oh,
she doesn't cry.
That's all.
She doesn't ever cry. It just irritates me.
She cries over everything. So yes.
Yeah, writing the book was really hard because, as a trauma survivor, we push things down. We don't really want to. I had no idea when I put it all in writing of what the hell I'd actually been through. Like, holy cow. I mean, it was and that's what we were just on a podcast the other day. And the lady goes, yeah, I had a really bad week and my house burned down. I go, oh, my house blew up too once. Like, I've had it all. I'm like, oh my. And she's like, really? She goes, you've been this, and your house burnt down. And I said, yes, my house burnt down. So we didn't let that out of the book. So yeah, going back through it all, sweets, it was terrible to do it, to relive a lot of the things.
Yeah. But I'll say, I mean, although I'm not overly emotional and I don't tend to cry a lot, I leave that part to Gaylynn. I had a lot of times throughout her life, especially in the midst of her addictions and things like that, where I was so frustrated with her and so angry by the choices she was making that I was ready to give up and walk away from her and say, that's it. I'm tapping out. I can't do this anymore. And then God spoke to me and he told me to love her or leave her. It was my choice.
Right.
How are you going to leave this, huh?
And
that was going to be my next question. How did writing the book strengthen your faith? You tapped into it a little bit just now.
Yeah.
Because I know it had to strengthen your faith for knowing now that it's finished. You're trying to get the story out. This is another platform that people are going to want to get the book in and dive into it, because I always tell people, like Gaylynn just said earlier, this is the path some of us had to go so that it be a story for someone else, so that when they get to their path, they can look back and say, someone else got back up, so let me get back up. There's no need of, like she said, drink. There's no need of crying all the time. There's no need of worrying all the time. When is you going to get up?
Exactly. Get up.
The whole book is based on the platform and the premise of Matthew 17:7, when Jesus is telling us, he told me this, he shared this with me in a very quiet moment in one of my devotions for the book title, and it matched exactly what Gaylynn had heard. But Gaylynn says he yells at her, but for me, it was a quiet, soft, let's base this on Matthew 17:7, when Jesus is telling his disciples to get up and don't be afraid. Yeah. So that's the other piece of the other message, especially when Gaylynn's counseling women who have gone through so much, but they're drinking themselves to death, or they've gotten into drug addiction, or whatever other thing that has happened with them. We have to be able to get up and take one step at a time. That's what Jesus is asking us to do. One step at a time, and don't be afraid.
Yes.
The biggest one is domestic violence with the women that go back. because I did. I went back after the beating. I went back. And it's frustrating for us that are on the other side, basically. But
Yeah.
when you're in it and you're fear-based, you'll continue to go back because they have a stronghold on you. They're gaslighting you, they're doing everything. And so that's a big deal for the domestic violence women is please no fear. Get up, get away from the situation. There's help for you.
Yes. Again, the book, Get Up, Get Up. We give you more before it go off. So getting to all this help for the hope for the listeners. Your story is built on to help people. That's what we're here having these real stories. So we want to ask you, what would you say to someone battling addiction? What would you say to them after going through all that and looking at the rainbow at the end of the tunnel, as they would say?
The best thing I tell everybody is to surrender. Quit trying to control it. When you're trying to be in control, it's not going to work. It never did work for me anyway. I mean, it's to just surrender, sit still, and be patient because he's going to guide you. He yells at me. He might guide you a little different, but so you'll hear it. But the biggest thing for, especially with addiction, I'm working with one lady right now. It's one day at a time. Don't hold on to the shame, and surrender. You have to surrender it all, and let the mask down. I had a lady because one of the other women that came to me about abortion. There's 2 abortions in the book too. Was sex trafficked and she had never told anybody that she had had that abortion. She goes, Gaylynn, you set everybody free, and I said, that's called surrender. I know the good Lord knows my heart, and anybody else that wants to judge me, let them. You have to surrender to him. And none of your opinions make any difference to me. I know my heart. And that's the hardest part for them. They've been beat down so much that they listen to everybody else in the room. To surrender to Jesus only. Mm-hmm.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. What would you say to that person that's going to listen to this podcast tomorrow or later on that's grieving the loss of a child?
That one's a tough one. You've got to love them, and just you have to continue to go on because they're watching. They're right there. They're seeing you, and you're breaking their heart by drinking yourself to death or being mad or sitting in bed and having so much grief that you can't leave. That's not what God intended. You have to know that your children are safe and to continue to move forward. That one is the toughest one because I listen to them and then I'll tell my story and they're like, oh my gosh, so if I can do it, you can do it. Basically, when I'm talking to somebody, if I did it, you can do it. I didn't have any guidance either. Nobody was helping me. So, come on, you can do this. Surrender. That is the hardest part for us hard-headed people.
Surrender. Get the book, get up, get the book, get up. And I'm going to ask this question. What would you tell someone that's fighting cancer right now?
Ooh, that's a good one. So I love that topic because we are a temple of God. You're fighting cancer. You need to, for one, surrender. 2, listen to what he said in the Bible about fasting, about eating the correct foods. Quit eating man's food. I only eat God's food. I make sure that I eat clean. I said that's the thing too, is that cancer, they can clean it up and it always comes back because you go right back to eating Satan's food. So we're in a holy war right now. Everybody knows it. So you should be taking very good care of this temple of God. Like I explained, if you had one car for the rest of your whole entire life, you'd change that oil in it. So you have to release the trauma because when you're holding on to that stress, that's going to cause cancer. 1 in 2 of us will be diagnosed with cancer now. So yes, you take care of the temple of God.
Great, great, great. How did you keep trusting God when life doesn't even make sense?
Because I could hear him. He was yelling at me.
He was always dropping that proverbial piano in her head.
Yeah.
Now I don't even want to stand next to her. I'm just waiting for it to drop.
No, I don't. I listen now. Okay, I listen. All right.
Most of the
What?
time.
Go ahead. Lavonne, yes.
Most of the time. Stop it, Lavonne. We can't argue on here.
What does God never let go means to each of you? What does God never let go means to each of you?
Do I go first, Lavonne?
Yeah. So for me, I was raised in a Christian home, so I always knew that in my heart, but I saw it really played out, being the front row witness to everything Gaylynn had gone through throughout her life. God was with her every step of the way. And when she says that he was there because she should have died during most of the traumas that she endured, it is absolutely true. She should have died, but he was there because he had a bigger purpose for her. He had a bigger message to get out through her. And she wouldn't be able to share what she's sharing right now without having to endure what she went through and having God right by her side the whole time. So I know, and Gaylynn believes this as well, that she really, really understands the power of God today because he gave her that one last dance with her daughter on the beach.
Yes. And I swear that I wouldn't be here today. I would have checked out. I would have easily died of cancer whenever I begged for death when I had cancer because I couldn't find my daughter. She's done it. I'm ready to go home. I don't care where I'm going. I just want to go. I don't want to be on this earth. And yes, you have to stand back up. I would have surrendered to me. I would have collapsed if I hadn't had that one last dance with her.
Yeah, so important. So important. Thank each of you. That is the fun time. We went through the struggles, we went through the loss, we went through the grief. One word that describes God to you. One word that describes it.
That describes God?
Yes.
Oh, love.
Power.
Your favorite Bible verse.
I'm terrible at these.
Well, you take our signature one, Gaylynn. I'll go with Romans 13:15.
Okay.
What's our signature one?
Matthew 17:7.
Matthew 7. Yes, listen to her. I'm a baby Christian. Remember that, okay, you guys?
One lesson you'll never forget. One lesson you'll never forget.
One lesson I had lots of lessons. The one lesson I would never forget was to get up. To listen. That's my biggest lesson, was to listen. Because I didn't listen to anybody. I still don't half the time, but I do listen to God.
Most of the time.
Stop. Lavonne, you're a little spicy tonight. Stop it.
What brings you joy these days, other than just knowing you went through it?
Every day is joyous for me now. Every day. Every day I have all these women that just reach out to me daily, whether it's regarding food. I have one woman that just reached out that we evicted, Lavonne and I evicted her, and she came back, she read the book, and I'm counseling their whole group right now. So it's just every day is joyous for me that I get to share the love of God, and I get to share my knowledge now, my wisdom that comes with gray hair.
Yes. You went right into my next question. What chapter of your life are you most grateful God rewrote?
The one I'm in right now. The one I'm in right now, that I had no idea what a true marriage was all about. I had no idea what the true love was all about. I had no idea that you didn't have to live in fight or flight constantly, that you're waiting to see when the shoe's going to drop, who's going to beat you, who's going to do something sexually inappropriate, where's your next meal coming from, all of that stuff. So that's this chapter that I'm in right now.
It's a wonderful, good chapter. Someone's listening today. If they felt like giving up, what would you say directly to them?
Don't surrender. Get on those knees and pray. Listen. That's the biggest thing, is to get on your knees and pray and be quiet. Get rid of the chaos around you, because usually all of us that are at that point, we have lots of chaos around us because we usually don't know anything better. So you keep that chaos, get rid of the chaos, step away from this bomb site and get on those knees and pray.
Yes. This one is easy for you. This next one. What does get up mean to you today?
Everything. Everything. It really does. I am blown away at Lavonne's ability to write. I knew my cousin was very, very smart anyway, but it's the whole thing of where this has projected us into the whole nother chapter that I didn't even see coming. I had no idea it was going to be this. Honestly, I thought we'd write this book, I'd be done. I could just get it all off my chest and go about my happy little life. And no.
Yes. Yes. This question for both of y'all. What legacy do you hope your book and your story will leave? What legacy you hope that it will leave?
Go ahead, Lavonne.
I hope that our legacy through this book points others to Jesus. That's really the ultimate goal. I posted something recently on Facebook, and it reminded me of Gaylynn. That's why I put it out there. And it said, God didn't reach down into the pit to drag you out of there so that you could not share that. He did that so that you would go back in and take others out and take them with you. So I feel like that's Gaylynn's story. She's now reaching down into that pit with the power of God behind her and pulling other people out. And so for us, I feel like that's the legacy that should last forever, is pulling people out of that pit and pointing them to Jesus.
Yes.
My legacy too is definitely that, but it's also the love that, Jesus was really just telling us to love everybody and to love yourself. That is the biggest thing, is to love yourself too. The legacy is love. It's, it does cure all. So, love yourself, love everybody, and you'll see how much more beautiful your life will go.
Yes. Where can the listeners find your book and connect with you? If someone is listening to this, of course, they're going to want to get the book because it's what they heard and they interested in it. Where can they go and how can they connect to follow up on you and your story and learn more?
So you can reach us on our website. It's valleygracepub.com. That's valleygracepub.com. You can also purchase our book through the website. We're also available at any of the bookstores that you might frequently visit online, and I'm in Barnes & Noble as well. So you can go there. And then we're also on Facebook, Valley Grace Publishing.
Yeah, don't y'all forget, get the book, get up.
And can I just say real quick, it's an award-winning book. We're going to Indiana next month because she won a big award with the Christian writing. So
thank you. I forgot about mentioning that.
Yes, we're heading to Indiana next month. So we won, I just had to live it. She won an excellent award, even for the cover of the book. So
yes. You want to get the book, get up. And my final question, my favorite question. If this was the last conversation someone ever heard before making a life-changing decision, what would you want them to remember from this story?
From the story?
Yes, from your book, from hearing you talk about your addiction, from hearing you talk about making it fast forward stage cancer, for getting back up, from now living a wonderful life married. Someone is at that point, but they might not have a chance, but this might be the last conversation they get to make that decision like you did with that first dance, that last dance.
I know Gaylynn has a really wonderful response to this. For me, I tell anybody who can hear my voice, find that person who can support you. Find someone that you trust. Find someone that you can believe, who are believers in Christ. Find that person, because as humans, it's very difficult to walk through this life alone, let alone if you're facing hardships like Gaylynn did. Right. So find a support person that loves Jesus.
And I'm just going to tag on to that. That's exactly it. You have to find somebody that you can trust. One, I thought I could trust many and they were all not good. Find that one person that you can trust and surrender. That's the hardest part for most of the addictions and everything, is the surrendering part, because, they're going through all of the detoxing, etc. They want to just jump back on that wagon because it's easier. It's not easy. It's not easy to surrender. It is not easy letting go of the shame, but the glory goes to God when you get there. So hang into that battle and surrender.
Thank you. Thank you. That's great. Great story. Don't forget, get the book, Get Up, Get Up. We will have the website into the chat on the replay. Be sure to join the website, purchase this book, purchase the book for someone that you know going through addiction, going through cancer, going through just don't know where to turn. And again, we thank you for listening to another Real Story, Real People episode. God bless each of you, and we wish that you stay tuned for our next episode.
Thank you, Ray.
Everyone has a story. Every story has purpose. Welcome to the Real Story, Real People podcast, where ordinary people share extraordinary testimonies of God's grace. Each episode features honest conversations about faith, healing, second chances, and hope that inspires. Hosted by Raymond Matthews, founder of the Water Bucket Gospel. Join us live every Thursday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on our YouTube page, The Water Bucket Gospel, or on our Facebook page, The Water Bucket Gospel. Real stories, real people, real